Hello, in this video, or once you finish watching this video, I believe you will be able to classify different types of teams and, most importantly, understand the various modalities and tasks that these teams can undertake. It would benefit you to have prior knowledge, such as differentiating between in-person, hybrid, or remote modalities. I will only dwell on them occasionally in this video. This will help you better grasp some of the classification aspects I will present. This is a possible classification of team types. There can be many others. In this case, I have focused on three main dimensions: the central dimension and the two side ones. These dimensions are not entirely independent, as some relationships are shown in the diagram, but each dimension can operate separately. For example, the types of groups in the center can simultaneously be in person, hybrid, or remote, either in synchronous or asynchronous mode, depending on the organization's decision or external factors beyond our control. These groups have varying compositions and can work on different types of tasks. Let's begin by exploring the different types of groups. First, we have stable teams where the formation and inclusion of members remain relatively constant over a long period. While there may be occasional changes, the composition of these teams tends to stay consistent unless someone decides to leave the organization or the group, or there are new hires or changes in tasks that require additional members. These teams are typically highly stable. On the other hand, we have teams with short or limited durations. It could be a week, a month, or even a year. After the specified duration, the team dissolves and a new one is formed to address a new task or project. This is commonly seen in project teams. Within the stable teams, there are those where individuals work part-time in these teams while dedicating the rest of their time to other full-time teams within the organization. These are known as improvement groups. Usually, they consist of individuals from the same unit who devote a few hours every couple of weeks or a few minutes every day to brainstorm and solve recurring problems that arise in their daily work. Everyone in the unit doesn't need to be part of the improvement group. It can be a subset of individuals. This arrangement allows for better coordination and a focused working environment. Next, we have teams working full-time, such as departmental or traditional teams, following the conventional approach seen in organizations. Additionally, there are self-directed teams where members take on responsibilities traditionally held by managerial roles. Members of these types of teams have more responsibilities than in a regular one. They have the autonomy to organize their work rhythm depending on their workers and the project they are developing, decide on tasks and their sequence, ensure quality, identify training gaps, or conduct training for their peers. Sometimes, they might even have a budget of their own to share out or invest in various improvement actions. Self-directed teams often include improvement activities, which is why I have linked them to the more traditional departmental teams. They usually manage their process, service, or product improvements within their regular activities without any external help.
Lastly, let's discuss the types of tasks that teams work on.
I have defined two names that, in my opinion, describe pretty well the meaning of these types of matters. I have labeled them as tamed and wicked matters. I will explain them in more detail in the following two slides. Generally, improvement teams primarily focus on what I will refer to as wicked matters. The same applies to project teams mainly working on wicked issues. Domesticated subjects make up a smaller proportion of their work. In contrast, departmental teams primarily deal with tamed matters, and almost all their tasks fall into this category. When a wicked issue arises, an improvement team, project team, or other organizations, consultants, or individuals who can assist with such matters are involved, since they go beyond the normal day-to-day operations. Self-directed teams operate in both dimensions, tamed and wicked matters, with varying intensity. Now let's delve into these two issues in more detail. The first one I'm going to tell you about is tamed issues. These matters may have been wicked at some point, but we have learned how to handle them effectively. Through experience, we have established processes, defined stages to go through and sequence these stages to solve the problem. We have also set some rules and procedures for addressing them. We can estimate the time required for each activity or task. We even have standardized procedure documents that link tasks, processes, times, sequences, people involved, training tools, or key points to review to ensure things function well. These matters are usually related to everyday or routine issues. We typically refer to them as running the business or performing the usual tasks we are already familiar with. No matter how complex they were initially, we have learned to simplify or work with that complexity. The primary activities of individuals in these teams are to support others, enhance their capabilities, provide support when someone is overwhelmed with their workload, or offer specific knowledge needed for certain stages of the process required to address these matters. When dealing with wicked matters, we usually refer to new tasks, things we have never done before, or things that, even if we have done them in the past, are done differently this time. Sometimes, we may not know what to do when faced with these problems. In other cases, we may know what needs to be done. Still, the challenge lies in figuring out how to do it because the how is unique each time we encounter these matters. Wicked matters are characterized by uncertainty, ambiguity, and lack of clarity regarding their direction. They can be vague in their definition or the possibilities that arise, and we may not know which option will yield the best results or the specific outcomes we can expect from each option. Typically, these matters are closely associated with innovation. The primary activities of team members when dealing with wicked matters involve proposing, evaluating, and deciding on different alternatives or changes. This is complemented by updating processes. Essentially, we engage in wicked matters to tame them. We undertake all the activities necessary to domesticate these matters and generate the documentation required to treat them as is. It would be interesting to reflect on the common aspects shared by tamed and wicked matters, as well as the differences between them. Moreover, we should explore how these common and different aspects are affected when the team works in a face-to-face or remote setting or functions as a collective unit versus individual tasks. Understanding these distinguishing factors from the broader range of matters the team is working on can help us decide whether we should lean towards a form of in-person, remote, or hybrid collaboration. It can also guide us in determining whether we should shift from a team approach to individual tasks based on the nature of the tasks at hand and what would be the most reasonable solution. I believe that at this point, you can identify which tasks are commonly addressed by teams based on the type we are discussing and some modalities of teams and the functions they can carry out.